Good to see everyone here. Bob, good to see you,
Good to see you, Chris, always.
as always. Let's wait for a couple of folks to join, but today we're going to talk about finding problems worth solving. And we're going to talk about problem awareness essentially, and maybe I can give you a couple more tools to put into your arsenal so you can draw more problems than that we can use to help our prospects. Let me mute Patrick there. But I'm just gonna, any quick questions before we begin, as I'm waiting for a couple more people to join. Perfect. In that case, let's dive right in. So in problem awareness, when we start, we've all talked about before, we have to draw a connecting, in our connecting phase, we have to pull an overarching goal. And we have to see essentially, why are they on the call in the first place, right? We have an overarching goal. Hey, I want to make more sales. I want to help my child get away from home. I want to lose more weight. Perfect. I have an overarching goal. As I'm moving towards, I hear something. I'm not sure if everyone's muted, but as I move into problem awareness, the classic question that I can ask is, do you like what you're doing to X and Y and Z? So once I figure out the situation, let's look at the situation first and let's take it step by step. So situation, typical situation question, what are you currently doing to overarching goal? What are you currently doing to lose weight? What are you currently doing to help your son move out of the house? Once we have that overarching goal and we have an understanding around their current situation, we've asked them how long has this been going on for, and what was the specific reason that you chose to do it that way. So we tick those boxes, then we move into problem awareness. Now, in problem awareness, the templated question that you have right now, it's typically, okay, so do you like? We have to be careful for tonality here. Do you like what you're currently doing too, or the outcomes that you're getting to lose weight, the outcomes that you're getting from the process that you're using? So we have two options as always. One is the process, and the other is the outcomes of that process. And we can maneuver it depending on the situation, really. One, we can attack the process if the prospect has already gone too deep based on the process that they're using now. We can just talk about the outcomes directly and ask the question about the outcomes. But I want to give you a more powerful question today that we can enter problem awareness with a little bit more confidence, possibly. So what we can do instead is, how satisfied are you with the outcomes that you're getting? So what that does is essentially it shifts the intent towards them being not satisfied, because no one is 100% satisfied with just how life works. No one is 100% satisfied with what they have in place. So what we're gonna get typically is, well, I'm not 100% satisfied because of this, and they can't give us a reason a lot of times. Even if we don't, let's say they give us the reason, no matter of what answer they give you, I want you to start installing maybe a more powerful probing question. And it goes something like this. So if you look back, to be exact, if you look back for a second, and we're gonna go through it again and again. If you look back for a second, what are you seeing that makes you say that? We're gonna break it down. So let's look at the sequence. Instead of the do you like, and this works also with the do you like approach, but I'm giving you another way of doing things. How satisfied are you with the way that you've been running ads? How satisfied are you with the way that you're bringing in leads? People are going to typically say, no, I'm not that satisfied because the leads are expensive. Typically, what we come in and say, we probe there typically, right? We clarify and probe, and we say something like, whoa, what do you mean the leads are expensive? But another tool to go deeper with our prospects and stretch the gap in their mind a little bit earlier is, what are you seeing that makes you say that? Now, why is this question so powerful? Because of the language and the specific terms that we're using, it helps them unpack, it helps us unpack and tap into the emotional side of the brain. The terminology as, what are you seeing that makes you say that? If you look back for a second, so these are all, it's visual language that it's essentially a form of, you know how, I don't know if we have any military folks over here, but we go and we have PTSD, you know, it's a similar concept because we're having them essentially look back into their past experience with their process. And that's why we're asking. So if you look back for a second and instantly their brain thinks back to their most problematic moment that they had. So if you look back for a second, I don't want to necessarily use think there because think is irrational. I'm tapping into the rational part of their mind. I want to tap into their feelings. So when we look back, when we see, we're tapping into more of the emotional world. So if you look back for a second, what are you seeing that makes you say that? And now, instead of something generic, well, what would, if for example, if I ask them, what would you change if you could? Well, I would change, you know, getting cheaper leads. I wanted cheaper leads. But if I ask them, what are you seeing? If you look back for a second, what are you seeing that makes you say that? Essentially, I'm forcing them to tell me a specific scenario where last month we had double our lead costs, like our lead costs literally doubled. Okay, so now I'm being very symptomatic, and because of the use of language, essentially I'm forcing them to give me something that I can really latch onto and start building a gap off of. I'm gonna pause. This is very simple, but very potent. Any questions on how we could deploy this? Any specific questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go for it.
How would that work, car-wise? Like, for the past 5 years, you've been driving this Acura. Are you satisfied with it? Like,
Yeah.
does that sound right?
So in that case, you can use, do you like the car that you're driving now? Or how satisfied are you with the driving experience that you have with your current car?
Okay. I can see how satisfied are you. That definitely can roll better. It's not
Yeah.
something that everyone says.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like a good car. How satisfied are you overall with the driving experience? And you can get something like, well, you know, I'm satisfied, but I don't know, when we go out, it gets a little bit bumpy, let's say, right? That's where that's where you can come in and say, whoa. So if you look back for a second, what are you saying that makes you say that? Well, 3 weekends ago, we went to the beach, and so now you have a very specific scenario that happened.
Okay, that actually helps a lot more because I do get extremely broad statements.
And that's why I wanted to give you this these tools today, because I have been seeing people accepting a lot of surface level answers. And the thing is, when we accept surface level and try to build a gap off of that, it's going to be a gap that doesn't drive real urgency. We're pulling a gap that it's something that they would do themselves regardless, because we've stayed very broad, very surface level. But yeah, thanks, Ben. That's great question. Any other questions based on what we covered?
I've got a question, Chris.
Yeah.
How would it be any different if you if the result is like a very specific result, such like weight loss? So like if the outcome is weight loss,
Yeah.
like, you know, looking back for a second, what makes you say that? Like I feel like the immediate response would be like, well, I'm not losing weight. Like so how would you?
Yeah, so if you look back for a second, yeah, what are you seeing in your day-to-day that makes you say that you're not necessarily losing weight besides the obvious? The scale doesn't move.
Okay.
So you can eliminate the obvious answer, as we do with the do you like question, right? So besides the numbers on the scale not moving, do you like the diet that you've been following?
Mhm.
So I want to eliminate whatever they told me up to that point. I want to eliminate that answer. So same thing here. Okay, so besides the scale not moving, because that's only one part of the equation, if you look back, what exactly are you seeing that makes you say that?
Okay.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, weight loss is not just the weight, because she might be gaining muscle and losing fat, and the weight stays the same, right? So maybe recomposition. Of course, it's not the case, but in your conversations, let's say you can use language as well. I don't want to make any assumptions here. If you look back for a second, what are you seeing that makes you say that? So that neutralizes the question a little bit.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah. It
Okay.
does. And you know, in the do you like question, you kind of do that in the first part of the question. So would you do that in the first part of the question with this too, if you were to switch to, you know, besides, you know, obviously not losing the weight you want, how satisfied are you with XYZ? Or would you do it in the second part?
You mean I didn't understand. Say that again, sorry.
So like when you eliminate the obvious in the do you like question, would you eliminate the obvious in the how satisfied are you question, or in the probing piece of it?
You can do both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it depends on how the conversation is rolling up to that point, right? So if in the current situation, if they already start unpacking problems, you will use that problems and you will eliminate them before you ask the problem awareness question. So you will say, okay, so you mentioned that you're not losing weight. Besides you're not losing weight, do you like the outcomes that you're getting from your training schedule? If nothing has come, the conversation is rolling, they haven't unpacked any problems, this is where how satisfied you can weaponize, you can use the how satisfied terminology. So especially if you see that prospects are closed off, that's where you can hedge your problem awareness a little bit by asking how satisfied are you, because no one is 100% satisfied with what they're doing. And then you double tap it by saying, okay, hold on though, like if you look back for a second, what exactly are you seeing that makes you say that? Or if they say, I feel stressed, what makes you, what are you saying that makes you feel that way though? And since we are there, just to take it to the next level, what are you seeing that makes you say that? We're getting a symptom. In that case, because I use the terminology, what are you seeing that makes you say that? I'm not going to say how long has this been going on for. I'm going to say, how often do you notice this? I'm going to stay in the emotional part of their brain. How often do you notice this? How often do you see that? Because there we're deep into the emotional part there. They start recollecting scenarios where they feel that they have too much weight on, or their leads are too expensive. Like we have helped them relieve that moment. So I'm gonna continue using that terminology. How often do you notice that to happen? We raise the emotional temperature with that question, and then we ask, what kind of impact is that having on you, on your process, not on your process, with your health, with your day-to-day life? So if I do a good job, I'm not gonna say, is that having an impact, which is more closed-ended, open-ended? What kind of impact is that having on you? Once I have the what kind of impact is that having on you, I can dive into building a gap with logistics. Okay, so you mentioned that you want to get to 150 pounds. Where are we at today? Just so I can see the progress you have to make. 200. Okay, so 50 pounds. And what do you feel has been slowing you down from getting there on your own, though, without supplements or X and Y and Z? Well, I feel, and that's how you can have a problem. I'm gonna shut up because I see hands up. Bob.
I just get myself in the queue for whenever you're ready for role play. That's all.
Okay, sweet.
No hurry.
Richard, I saw your hand up as well.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I put my hand down because you kept on rolling. So that's why I would say, what do you say next? But I like this. How often?
Yeah.
What kind of impact is that having on you? And then I'm just going to shut up because is there more to it? Because that's what I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to shut up.
It's all good. So the last piece and the final piece of the equation is, because again, we have nowadays, as people are getting more closed off, getting a little bit of the shakes with the recession talk, I would like, and when I'm reconstructing scripts, I try to install questions that do more problem finding. So for example, when I'm selling my coaching, or when we're selling sales coaching overall, we're asking questions like, okay, so what do you feel that you're saying or not asking that's causing you not to make more sales? So the power in that question, where does that come in? First of all, it's gonna help them do problem finding for me. So all I'm doing is I'm asking a question and they're gonna discover their own problems. And if they cannot come up with problems, I'm gonna come in and help them understand, well, have you considered that maybe it's your tonality? Have you considered that? How do you feel in terms of your objection handling? With Bob's case, let's an example, and we can brainstorm questions for all of you. But with Bob, let's say we go through the process. How often do you notice, tantrums from your son? What kind of impact is that having on your household? And you start probing and clarifying, and you can ask a question like, okay, hold on though, like, what do you feel that you're maybe saying or you're not asking your son that's causing him to throw tantrums and not go along with you? And now what's going to happen in their minds? There's a gap being created, right? Because they're either oversaying things or they're not asking them the right things. And who's gonna be responsible for solving the problem? You, because you asked them that question. And the second caveat, I guess I should say, the second benefit to that question is, who can tell me what else is happening here? Who can tell me what are we accomplishing with this question? Besides, we're stretching the gap in their mind, what is that question doing to them?
They're acknowledging that they can't do it alone.
close,
I
close,
striked out.
close, but not quiet.
That it's their responsibility to fix the issue.
On point. What do you feel that you're saying? It's you. It's not the market. It's not any outside circumstances. It's you, right? So they're raising the hand when they ask, when they go ahead and answer that question, they automatically subconsciously take responsibility. Can you see how powerful that is? Because I'm not giving them the opportunity to say, well, you know, it's these kids these days that are no longer cooperative. No. What do you feel that you're saying to your child, or you're not asking him, that's causing him to throw tantrums? Well, I think we're not being kind enough, or we feel that now it's a we thing, it's a me thing. I have to fix me. Everyone clear?
Yep.
That's pretty much all I had. Now, two things. One, we're going to move into role plays and everything. Two, whoever wants to formulate a question similar to this, raise your hand and let's formulate it together.
I do, for sure.
Yeah, Bob, you had your hand up.
Yeah, can we do something a little different? Or you
Anything.
want to stay on topic?
No. Let's do it.
Okay. I two things. One is that when I get to the money and I raise my prices now to like $5,000 or more, how can I have made it so they might be prepared for an investment that large? Like they're, you know, I feel like they're kind of like, see, since there's nothing like me in the marketplace, they don't know
Yeah,
how much this might be. They have no idea.
yeah. There are a
They're
lot of
not
ways to go
prepared.
about it. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to go about it. One simple way of doing it is this can happen before the call. What you can simply do is you can ask a question in your pre-call application that says something like, you know, if you find that if we find that our solution together is a fit, or if you find that if you get accepted into the program, what's your comfort level in investing so you can get a happier family, for example? You can say 3 choices. Choice number 1, anything over 1,000 would be a stretch for me. 2, 1,000 to 10,000 seems reasonable for me to get support.
Get this right.
Question number 3 is 10,000 plus. I'm willing to invest 10,000 plus, assuming I find the right solution to fix my problem for good. Something like that, right?
Okay.
So now this allows them to self-qualify a little bit. And
Yeah.
all you want is people to pick number 2. You don't care about, maybe you get one out of 20 people will pick, I can invest more than 5,000, and that's fine, right? But
Right.
what you want to do is see if you have in a specific day packed calendar and 3 of your calls are investing more than 1,000 would be a stretch.
Right.
You can choose to have a conversation over email with them, over chat, or
Right.
open that slot altogether.
Right.
But what that also is doing is once someone sees that in the application, you're anchoring them, right? Because it shows them that it's going to be more than 1,000, and it's going to be 1,000.
Yes. Right. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
What I've been doing lately is making a short discovery call to get through problem awareness because I promised these people I give them a free call, no strings attached.
Yep.
And I want to fulfill that promise, but then I'm getting them to problem awareness and say, would it be appropriate for us to discuss my programs with another call? I know I can help you.
Yep.
And in there, should I bring that up there?
Yeah, what I would say is, it's Chris, it sounds like what we're doing can help and help John move out of the house and give you the right skills so you can handle John's behavior. So he can get a job, he can do this, he can do that. So typically the next step is we book in for another meeting to discuss my coaching programs so I can show you the methodology that I use with my other clients. So we can get them X and Y and Z result. Would that be appropriate if we book in for a second call so we can start solving X and Y and Z, or where should we go from here? Yes, we should. Perfect. You book it in. Oh, and before you go, I guess, as you might understand, if you see red flags ahead of the conversation, oh, and before we go, as you might understand, we do require some type of funding to put into the coaching so we can get your son into a job, have this, have that. So, ballpark, and assuming that we find the right fit for you, what could be your comfort level in investing into something like this so you can get X and Y and Z result?
Great.
So you can use that question essentially in your discovery. And if they say, maybe $500, we have 11 mortgages, we have this, we have that, save your time.
Right. I like that. Yeah, that's exactly what I needed right there, to really just anchor that and don't set the appointment so we're not talking about whether we're going to have it or not, but then have that conversation and then say, well, this might not be a good fit for you.
Yep.
And then undo the appointment, and I'm not wasting my time anymore.
Absolutely.
And one more quick thing. So
Yeah.
I had like 2 pages of problems with this couple, and they were so into going that I kind of let them off a little bit to think about it because I was so certain, and I should have never done that, because it ended up being they emailed me back and said they can't do it because of cost.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about trying to bring them back with can you help me with my marketing? I'm thinking about doing some different things in my marketing efforts, and I'd be happy to give you a 30-minute free session in exchange for some advice, just to try to bring them back on the call.
Oh, to propose to them that, you mean?
Yeah.
Why do they help with marketing? I didn't
I'm
understand
gonna I'm gonna ask them about the pricing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, I know you said it was about pricing, and I just was curious what that might have been, so I might be able to do something different in the future.
So essentially, you want to offer them a 30-minute session for free and to reel them back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I would say in that scenario is, I can understand that the cost may be a concern. We had a conversation. I still don't want you to keep having all those challenges. Would you be open to having at least another 30-minute meeting? At least I can give you some insights. I would do it 15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like 15, would you be open to having a 15-minute? Maybe I can give you an insight you can deploy. So at least you stop fighting so much, because that's the biggest thing for you guys right now, from what you mentioned. Oh yeah, for sure. And then, yeah, I would give them an insight. And at the end of that call, I would say something like, yeah, and I know we discussed through email, and you mentioned that the cost is a concern. So I guess besides kind of like the investment, would you move forward so you can X and Y and Z?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I would. May I ask why though? Yes, I would, because of this and this and this. Okay, so I should probably ask, is it more of the upfront amount, like the entire investment, or if we were to break it into something more digestible, would that help you? So you don't have to postpone getting that help with your son and keep the fights, And essentially, it's at that point where you isolate if it's a fear or a financial thing,
Right,
or if it's they're scared to invest it,
right.
and you take it from there.
Yeah, that's all I want to be is I want to be back there,
Yeah,
handle it where I didn't handle it in the other call. That was
Yeah.
bad on me.
have that conversation. Try to have that conversation regardless before you let them go, just so you don't chase them afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I might do, and just say something like, I know we really just got to talk about a lot of the issues you're having, but I never got a chance to give you some tips.
Yeah,
Would you be opposed to getting back on a call so I can give you 15 minutes and help you at least get on your way?
on point.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely.
You're the best.
100%. I'm not that cool, but I try some days.
I
Ben.
think you're the coolest.
Yeah. So I like the way you posed the question for him, like, would you like a more digestible payment plan? Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's a soft way for me to find out if someone's paying cash for a car
Yeah.
or paying or looking to have a payment plan on the car itself.
Yep.
And it doesn't come off rude. So I kind of have like two things. One, I do want to make a question that we were going over for that. How do you feel you're saying that you're saying or not saying that's causing you to, I want to put that in my industry. And then I wanted to go over the sale that we were texting about because it was a really good deal. I just need to figure out ways to kind of like handle the situation without my TOs ruining it. Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's really killing my sales. Is
Yeah.
the TOs.
Yeah, 100%. So let's dive in first. In terms of the question, what do you feel that you're saying or not asking? So when it comes to cars, I think if you do a good job here, I don't think you need another gap question. If you do a good job, what are you seeing that makes you say that based on your current driving experience or based on your current vehicle? I think it's more than enough for you to build a gap from there.
I get the ones that are so like extremely price focused. Like even though I try to make them results based thinking, they just revert right back to price. Like dealt with a guy that was like, well, yeah, my car is good. I'm just looking for this truck and I'm just a numbers man guy. So there ain't nothing for it. Like I kind of got annoyed with him and I looked him in the face and I said, well, if this car doesn't start and leave the lot, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, right?
Yeah, but you have to ask them, right? You have to ask them that, not tell them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So how you do that is, okay, that's not a problem at all. I understand that you wanted to Toyota Camry. I should ask, is the price, like in getting the cheapest price, the most important thing for you? Or is it actually getting into a car that's you're gonna have for years to come and it's reliable? Well,
Okay.
both. Okay, so if it's both, I want to make sure that I'm putting you in a position where you're not getting into a car that's going to break down tomorrow. Are you with me on that? I hope you're okay with me saying that.
Yeah, I like it. That definitely helps.
You have
Trying
to
to come
ask them
off
though.
less.
You have to
Yeah.
ask. If you tell them,
And when you're out the other.
emergency exit here.
Okay. Okay, so then really it's a top down problem that I'm having
Yeah.
at that point. So I just have to correct how I'm creating the gap.
Yep.
Then so my situation with my TOs, so like the lady that we were coordinating about,
Yep.
they told me 350 after we got inside and we were doing like we're looking at vehicles. We finally got down to the payment plan. She stated it. And basically a decent car these days is not 350, it's 400 plus, right?
Yeah.
If you want a car that's gonna not leave you upside down and give you all types of issues, it's about that much a month now. And I kind of got them to be happy. So I did ended up getting them to be happy with the payment of it being around there.
Yep.
The issue is now trying to find a way to get them back into the store because my boss kind of like belittled them by talking about like, well, no, it was just flat out, no, that's not gonna happen. No, this can't happen. No, that's not gonna happen. Right? Everything that they said, he was like, no, essentially. When in reality, it was just nurturing them to a higher payment plan so that way they can feel that their daughter is in a safe vehicle that won't break down.
Yeah.
Right. And she's the one that's going to be making the payments to the vehicle.
Yeah.
So I wasn't assuming their budget or anything. Well, I kind of took this approach too, where like I don't really assume anyone's budget. I kind of just walk them to the most feasible option based off of what they tell me. And then if they can't afford it, they can't afford it at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just easier to go that way versus.
Yeah. What's your question?
So my question is how exactly for situations like that where they leave the room with uncertainty like that, do I bring them back in? Like,
You look,
or that's
there's no magic touch.
okay. There's no magic touch.
The idea is, and this is something for you to brainstorm on, like, if you found their why did it's for their daughter, perfect. Why
Yeah.
is what is she gonna do with it? If you found a vehicle, another offer, another deal, another payment plan, this is your hook.
Okay.
And the way that you approach them is you're gonna combine a hook and their why. Same thing I gave you on Messenger. It's hey, Nancy, I know we discussed last week, but you wanted to kind of think about it. Something came across my desk that might seem interesting. So we can get Cindy into a reliable car so she can use for college. Would you be against coming to the store to have a look?
Okay. That definite. Well, you answered a question that I'll probably have in the future. So thank you for that. That's how I can get them back in. So I have no more questions now.
Great. Patrick.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good. Thanks. Hey, so I like I'm using a lot of the questions you're already using here, but my focus is more home insurance. Are they protected? Who are they with, kind of thing. So a question I've been using a lot first before the do you like is what company are you currently with?
Yep.
Do you like that company? Yeah, everything's all right.
Yep.
So you'd say that from what you're saying, it sounds like you're completely satisfied with your current situation.
Yep.
Kind of similar to the 100% satisfied. Okay, if you look back for a second, well, my prices have gone up, or haven't really heard from them lately. Those are the two focuses.
How satisfied are you with your current provider, though? So you've been with them for 5 months now. How satisfied are you with the agreement you have in place, or the coverage that they're providing for you guys?
Okay,
that's the question.
Okay, and then that's when they'll bring out the, hey, prices have gone up, or haven't heard from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what are you seeing that makes you say that?
Yeah, so hold on there. So if you look back just for a second, what exactly are you seeing that makes you say that? I don't want to make any assumptions here. Curious, skeptical, right? So when it comes to your tonality, and this is where situation, we are curious. What do you have in place? How long? Is there a specific reason you chose to do it that way? In problem awareness, we can turn skeptical, right? Because we need them to defend their problems, right? That's how we get problems to open up. It's not that they're doing us a favor and they're going to open up just a little bit and give us, a piece. we want to essentially be a little bit skeptical about what they're telling us, so they go and defend their problem. That's how they buy into it more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But we're doing that with our tonality, with our skeptical tonality.
Okay.
Like
Uh,
we've seen price hikes. How often do you see that though? I'm not gonna say, oh, how often do you see that? No, it's how often do you see that though? How often does that happen? Oh, it happens. I don't know, twice a year. Okay, and what type of impact is that having on you though? Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to be a lot of empathetic there because I don't want to, either. I'm just skeptical. I'm looking to defend their problem.
Right.
I'm looking
And-
to defend. Please.
just that last question that you have there, so that they've brought out that there is a higher price, or that they don't know where to turn.
Yeah.
What do you feel that you're doing or not asking that's causing you to feel this way?
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like, so if they raise their prices on you every year, like, what do you feel that's happening on your end that's causing them to raise your prices?
Okay.
And what I'm looking there is, well, we didn't do anything. They just keep raising our prices. So now what did they do? They started invalidating their provider, right? Because it's like, we didn't do anything. These guys keep raising our rates.
Okay.
So this is a different type of gap. You still can, you still deploy that question, but of course they cannot take responsibility they take responsibility to switch to another provider because they're overpaying now.
Okay.
But what we help them understand with that question is that they didn't do anything on their end. It's just the other guy is overcharging them. And they keep raising the rates for nothing, for no particular reason. And that gives them a reason to make a switch.
Okay, yeah, I think that's great because that's an issue that I've been having. I think people think that well, no, I'll do the switch and it'll sound great, but then you'll just be like them and increase my price. And okay, but if you kind of get them to say it versus me saying it, similar to the last questions.
Yes, and if you're getting, you have to challenge them with the rationale as well. Okay, but besides the rate hikes, because everyone wants to pay lower prices, I guess what's the main reason why you might be looking to switch providers rather than going to your current guys and maybe lowering the coverage a little bit, pay less that way? Oh no, we want the same coverage, just we don't want to keep on paying rate hikes or price hikes. Okay, that makes sense. But what makes it important for you now, though?
Okay.
Does that help?
Hey, definitely. It's I think I was down the right path, but just like you said, it's just the tonality and I think that I step on a lot is over speaking, letting them really get everything out. And it's come a long way since the beginning, but it's still an area I got to work on.
Yeah, let's keep on working.
Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Joe.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I got a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
I was curious, any insight on appearing more confident, speaking louder, hand gestures, maybe not losing control of the call, but I just feel like I'm not coming off very confident during my calls.
Yeah, a couple of things. Have you ever tested doing it? That's a suggestion. I'm gonna answer directly, but a suggestion. Have you considered and testing doing phone only?
I haven't considered it just because it's set up with Zoom meetings. That's the structure.
Yeah, if they don't force you into it, if you have 10 calls, let's say in a week, I would remove the Zoom link from your invitation. I would just plug in the number and send them an email. hey, Joe, or record a video. Hey, this is Joel from Dan or whoever. So you come in, what I'm gonna do is just please email me your phone number and I'll give you a call if you don't have it already. If you have it, I'm just gonna call you at that time, at that date. Let me know if that still works for you, and looking forward to discussing. I would just, if you're open to it and if you can, I would test it to see how it feels.
Okay. You calling me ugly, Chris?
Not at all.
Appreciate it.
No, I'm gonna give you more when it
Okay.
comes to the confidence thing. The confidence thing, it comes from at the end of the day of not needing the sale, right? Because if you don't need the sale, you could care less if someone will buy or not, and that's where confidence, because that's where the lack of confidence, you don't feel especially if someone is a high performer or I don't know what CEO, we don't feel worthy enough of selling to them because that guy is doing amazing, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Jeff Bezos, I don't know if you saw recently, but he got in shape. Like, I don't know what he took, I don't know what workout plan he got into, but he got into shape, right? He was freaking nerd and he got into, I don't know what, he's in shape now.
Yeah.
Well, that Jeff Bezos, the richest guy or one of the richest guys around, had to see someone and take commands from someone as an authority to get into shape, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to. He is the guy. He can buy, I don't know, half of the earth. But there is a guy that has higher expertise than him when it comes to the tight scenario of him wanting to get into the best shape of their lives.
Sure.
And for 2 hours a week, that's his God. That's the guy he listens to. He says, jump, Jeffy jumps.
Okay.
That's who you are for your prospects. That's why they're on the call with you.
That's
I don't
good.
care. I don't care if they have billions. You came to me because you want to learn sales. By default, you came to me, you suck at sales. I'm going to fix you. I'm confident I can help you. I
Okay.
don't care what else. You may be the cousin of Brad Pitt. I would care less. You're on my call. I set the rules. You're here to learn sales. I will teach you sales.
Gotcha. I'm a pretty laid back guy. Should I have a little more enthusiasm or?
No, it's not about that. It's about this.
Yeah.
It's not outward at all. I don't have to project or be more enthusiastic. I'm laid back. I'm just, hey, good to see you. Crack a little smile and then relaxed, stoic. I don't need to, of course, you have to be more empathetic, especially around solution awareness, but you don't need to change your style.
Okay.
It's all about, nothing shakes you. It's always another prospect that's next. In 2 hours, you'll be speaking to another person.
Okay. Appreciate that. Couple questions. Maybe we can just go through them real quick. I don't
Does
want
that
to take up too
help
much
you?
time.
Does that help you? It's like does that give you a direction?
It does. I mean, I guess it's really adjusting the mindset, and the calls have slowed down drastically. So it's going to be a little difficult to just remember that there's always another call.
I'll
But,
try to come up with a video on it to do more of a breakdown.
appreciate it. I had a question about urgency.
Yeah.
Creating more urgency for people to take action.
Yep.
Is that just really happen in the consequence questions with, what happens if we don't make a change, the weight stays on for another 2, 4, 6 months?
No, it's the urgency is one, the consequence is one thing. The other thing is getting to their big why. No one wants to lose weight just to lose weight.
Okay.
No one wants to get into the best shape of their lives so it's asking questions from a frame of not just where do you want to be, where do you need to be?
Yeah.
Where do you need to be so you can, like, what are you going to get out of losing weight? Becoming that fit version of yourself. Why is that so important for you now, though?
Okay. Thank you. I was going through the portal and one of the test questions was asking about checking if they have concerns.
Yeah.
And I just, that's not really in my script. I was curious. I mean, I know I ask them, do you feel like this is something that would work for you, and getting those confirmations. But is there a time when you should ask, do you have any concerns? Or
No, really. I mean, typically we want to try to prevent them. The way that you check for concerns is when you ask that commitment question, right? Do you feel like this would be the answer for you? Concerns will bubble up at that point if they have concerns.
don't ask directly. Gotcha.
So do you feel like this would be the answer for you? Eliminate that, eliminate the value objection, and like how you can find out if they have concerns. Yeah, it's really double confirmation there. Like, do you feel like this is something that you can do so you can lose weight? That's your final confirmation that they don't have any concerns. And then all you do is you drop price and you ask, where do you want to go from here? Or is that doable for you? Is another version. And at the end of the day, it's just about price because you've covered everything else ahead.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. And last one, this might be a little outside your ballpark, but as I mentioned, my calls have slowed down from 5 a day to 4 a week. Love the offer when it's busy, but I was just curious also with my time zone being in Europe, my mornings are often free, and just was curious if you had any ideas for some type of related side hustle or project that I could incorporate while not leaving the offer I'm with now.
Yeah, could you launch your own offer when it comes to coaching someone on something you know?
Okay.
I would look at because at the end of the day, like being at sales is, a means to an end. No one wants to sell until they're 60, right? So, or no hate. I don't know. I don't want to make an assumption. So I'm being a little bit too arrogant today. I don't know. Someone may want to sell. For me, that's why I have different offers, different things going on. So my two things is, if you have time, look at maybe launching a coaching program. It doesn't have to be competitive towards down. You can go up market or down market. You don't have to target the same individual. Now, this is quite a topic, but yeah, just an idea.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Ben. And I say, Ben, let me just answer one question here. So, Chris, what do you think is a good awareness? Good to see you, Yorgos. What do you think is a good problem awareness question for health insurance if the prospect doesn't even have a policy yet? The simplest thing, right? The simplest thing is, they don't have a health insurance. Well, you ask them, well, if something does happen to you, who would be responsible to go through sitting down with a funeral director and having to pay for the mortgage, having to pay for this, having to pay for that? Well, they typically say it would be my wife. Okay, well, how is she going to keep up with all those expenses? Is she going to be able to? They're typically going to say, well, she has a salary, we have some savings. Okay, so how long do you feel she can go on without your salary in place, if I may ask? They're gonna say 3 months. You then ask, okay, so what happens after those 3 months? Oh, she can go live with her mother, sell the house. And that's when you ask, well, do you want her to go through all that if she didn't have to? No, and now you create the problem because they've realized that they have all those expenses and they're gonna explore other avenues, and now you're back into selling them essentially coverage. Let me know, because I cannot hear you, let me know if that answers your question, Yorgos. Ben. Ben?
Awful. So, while you were going over the other stuff, I was playing with the question. I wanted to run this by you just in case, because I wanted to have something as a backup. What do you feel you're doing or not doing that's possibly causing you to look into getting into X, Y, and Z? Is that decent?
No, I didn't understand.
You didn't understand it. That's what I was looking for, to see if the question made sense or not. So like X would be like a payment plan of $400, right? So what do you feel you're doing or not doing that's causing you to look into getting into a payment plan of $400 on this Nissan Altima?
Okay, say that again.
What do you feel you're doing or not doing that's causing you to look into getting into a payment plan on this Nissan Altima for $400 a month?
Well, what are you trying to get from that question?
The goal of the question at least is to kind of like not to input a little bit of doubt that like what they perceive the payment plan to be is not at all what it's gonna be. It could be higher or lower. Or like the idea of the car that they picked out isn't ideal for the payment plan that they want to pay. If that makes sense.
So they pick a car that's out of their budget, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a different way to communicate that, right? Because you're not out of that question that you just pose, you're not gonna get that.
Okay.
What I would say, how I would challenge them is, okay, so you want a Porsche 911 and you say your budget is $400 a month. May I ask, how did you arrive to those numbers?
Okay. I got there with I got 20,000 down.
Okay. Well, the price of the car is X. So how are we going to be able to finance only $400 a month for a car that's 200,000?
I guess I could ask the question like that. I didn't think of that.
Well, that's how you ask them, because that's how you insert doubt. Like essentially you're telling them, hey, what you're telling me is alien, like it's out of this world, it doesn't exist. But you're telling them in a way, you're asking them that.
Yeah.
And you get them to question their point of view, essentially,
Okay.
but in a nuanced way.
No, I liked it. It was soft and it brought them down. It brought me down to earth too. Yeah, it was soft. Thank you. That definitely helps a lot. I have a lot of clients like that.
Glad to hear it's still working. Cool. What's next?
I have a question.
Ali, let's go for it.
Hi, Chris. So yeah, like I said before, I have a lot of leads. I have like 400, 500 leads every month that's coming in. So that's a lot.
Yep.
So my question is, some of the leads are pretty old. So when I call them and say, hi, just Ali here from Kiyosaki Institute.
Yep.
I saw that you have been registered for, it doesn't land. So how can I approach it in a different way with all the leads?
Yeah, so it depends on what you're getting, right? But an easy way is just to steamroll through rejection. Let me give you an example, right? Well, hey, is this Ali? Yes, this is Ali. Yeah, it looks like you had looked into a masterclass of ours. It's been a while, probably a year ago, about possibly getting into real estate investing. Have you found what you're looking for when it comes to investing in real estate, or are you still looking?
Okay.
Now you have to see what they're telling you. No, I'm not interested. I'm done with that. Oh yeah, that's not a problem. I'm just calling in to see if you had any hidden gaps around producing income or passive income or whatever the offer is, right? Essentially, you're gonna introduce a problem statement.
Yeah.
In case it lands. So you're doing, you approach it as a cold call scenario, but
Okay.
you have some relevance because they are registered for something. So you're gonna use that, but then you will introduce a problem statement. If they have no idea, I don't remember you guys, why are you calling me? Oh yeah, and just so you're aware, I'm not quite sure if we can help. I'm just calling in people who registered with us before to see if they had any possible hidden gaps around making passive income, so they don't have to keep working or whatever the offer is, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I build like a personal intro and go directly to situation question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Craft something with the problem statement formula that you use in cold calling and use that.
Yeah. Okay.
And try to do some SMS as well. If you have a lot of leads, like pull those numbers, maybe invest into a software. It's $29 a month, something like sales message.
Mm.
Plug into those numbers. Hey, this is Ali. You had registered about this class. Are you still looking to make side money from real estate? You can do something like that. If you want to blast 30 numbers a day and just call the ones that they raise their hand. If you want to be more efficient, you can still call everyone, but
Yeah.
you can also tap into that avenue.
Yeah. And I found like a texting script from Sales Sniper about how to text the people, because we have a lot of leads that come in through Facebook and we
Yeah.
text them, because I feel a little bit salesy when I text them. So do you have any advice around how I should approach them?
So if you text back and forth,
Yeah.
I would just, are you still looking? If they raise their hand there and say yes, okay, I would ask a qualifying question. Okay, just to make sure that we can help. What
Yeah.
are you currently doing to whatever they raise their hand for to make income from real estate? Nothing. And if you see they're engaged, pick up the phone and call them and book an appointment, like run a quick triage
Yeah.
and book an appointment from there, because it's going to take too long with the back and forth. You can do it and run a triage, like the way to do it through SMS, which would be take the triage, essentially the discovery from situation to problem awareness, and you do it over text. And then you book them in for the strategy call. It's just that it may take too long if they're not replying. If they're on it, just run it on SMS.
Yeah, Facebook as well. Sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're
Or
not.
Messenger. Yeah. So what are you currently doing? Do you like the way that you're doing things?
Yeah.
How much do you want to be making? How far off are you from making that right now? Oh, I'm very far off. What if your husband's slowing you down?
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. Okay, well, it sounds like that's all you need. It sounds like what we're doing can help. If it helps you, we can book in for a meeting, show you what we have to do.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else? Ladies and gents, any other questions? Before we wrap up. Any other things that are blocking us from making more sales? Going once, going twice. Well, good to see everyone once again. I'll see you next Sunday and keep me posted. Any way I can help, I'm here. Have a good one.